alone we probably couldn't do all this, but together we're able to do so much more.
Hi, I'm Harvey Van Ess. I'm from Van Ess Dairy, and I have 5 boys here, and my wife Lisa, and we have been dairying here in Iowa since 2008.
Yeah, and I'm Jeremy Van Ess. I'm Chad Van Ess.
Hey, I'm Todd here, the youngest of the boys.
And I'm Tyler Van Ess.
I'm Josh Van Ess.
Actually, my parents immigrated from the Netherlands, and so they went to the Seattle area, and so that's where I was born and raised, and that's where they dairied. And then in 1994, my wife and I and my brother, we moved the dairy to Idaho. And in 2007 is when we broke ground here, and then we moved it back. We moved it to Iowa.
And so currently we have 2 locations here. The one, our main facility that we built in 2007, and then we bought a neighboring facility in 2018. And so we milk about 10,000 cows, and we're currently farming about 3,200 acres, which is a little more than half of our corn silage needs.
In 2012, we rented a feed yard over by George, and that's where me and my wife moved to. And we started with like 1,000 heifers there from Kansas, and then we decided to build our own heifer ranch, and we did that started in 2015, moved there in 2016.
I do a lot of the pumping, the drag lining the manure in the fall. And
I take care of a lot of the trucking and side of things, moving cows and heifers around and things like that.
For me, one of my best memories, I think, is when they milked the first cows here. I mean, it was always my dream to build a dairy, and reality came true, and it was just, it was an amazing thing for me to see that happen finally after all those years, and it's just been,
And so they were actually the 2 that were here that started. When this dairy started, it was these 2 that were here. Chad came and helped oversee the building process, and then Jeremy moved here in January, and then the cows came in February, I believe.
I'd say for me was just working alongside my mom and dad. I mean, memories just with all that, and
Just our parents trusting us to do the work was a pretty big thing.
And I don't know if there's a proud moment as much as just this whole time. What mom wouldn't want to work with 5 of her sons like this?
What makes me proud is when our employees that have been with us a long time, we do something together, and it's just pretty cool because a lot of them are all friends, and their work kind of all friends. And I think something that's pretty cool is like they said, being able to work together as a family. Not very many people could do that to this scale. It's one thing to have maybe 1 or 2 brothers, but to have 4 can be a challenge, but it is fun to overcome them challenges. And
I just like they were saying, working with all us brothers working together, and just seeing what challenges we'll face in the future and stuff, and God has blessed us.
Yeah, and I would say just unique, with 5 of us, or Dad, even we have so many different departments in the dairy that we can all oversee and kind of manage better.
Yeah, and I'd say it's unique having multiple sites for dairies. How we kind of manage our herd. It's all one herd, but we do all the calving at one site and just milk cows at the other. Yeah, I think one thing that makes the dairy industry special is just it's something different every day, and it's rewarding to see. I mean, the cows make milk, and it's like you can see the product immediately what you're creating, so it's kind of cool that way to me.
I think what's special of the dairy industry too is the fact that there's these family farms that we've been able to work together, and just like with all of us coming together and to do this, and everybody has a role, and it's a great life.
So I mean, for me, it's just really special because I grew up in it, and Lisa and I started with 30 cows, and just to see how it's evolved.
I think some of the opportunities that the dairy industry provides is, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for for growth. It does require a lot of people, so it's a great way to include a lot of different family members, as evidenced by all of us being able to be involved in one aspect or another. There's a lot of different things and a lot of different things to manage. So I think one thing that's kind of cool about the dairy industry is for a small community, the amount of just business and dollars that transfer through a dairy. I think they say for every cow, it generates about $24,000 of economic activity in your surrounding area, because it's feed mills and parts people, and it's an endless amount of people that seem like are involved with the dairy. So I think that's something that's kind of cool.
I would say to diversify, probably to have other channels of doing stuff, like being more efficient with stuff like dry manure and making that more consistent for.
Yeah, I'd say one thing that we're always striving for is, like on the farming side with manure, we're doing more cover crops, so maybe a little less tillage and some of that, try to create some erosion beans. We're doing corn silage, getting the cover out there. We had about 800 acres of cover crops this last year. Some of that we'll actually harvest and double crop, and we're getting enough nutrients out of our manure to do that without really having to go to town and buy commercial fertilizer.
We breed a lot of cows to beef semen, so we create a lot of beef cross animals that we raise to feeder weights down in Texas and then sell them down there. And that's been kind of something just to, like we've all said, just diversify and spread our risk out. Sustainability for us is a lot of different things. I think on the dairy side, one unique thing that we're able to do is have manure digesters where we take the manure, they heat it up, capture the methane gas on it, and actually make RNG, renewable gas, propane basically, that actually gets injected back into the pipeline. So sustainability is a big deal, and it's never going to go away. And I think we've tried to embrace it with a lot of the stuff we've done on the dairy.
I'd say big thing for us is just being more efficient with what we have, growing more tons of corn silage on every acre of land. Also on the equipment side, just being able to repair a lot of it ourselves, keep the equipment around longer, not have to buy these expensive tractors as often.
And one thing I would add with the sustainability piece is, to be sustainable, we have to be able to make some money and be able to be sustainable. So just like Chad's saying, any efficiencies we can do, I mean, we kind of lean into it. On the dairy side, there's just an enormous amount of technology that's come about in the last decade or more. To the point where at the dairy side, we don't really use paper for anything anymore. We have scanners. All the cows have a chip in there that we put in a button in their ear, and you can just scan them and it tells you what that cow needs or doesn't need, or who it is, or anything about it. One step further, we actually got collars on every cow, like activity collars. So they tell us if they're sick, or if they're laying down for an extra hour a day, or if they're lame, or if they're ready to be bred or in heat, or anything about it. So it's kind of a unique deal that literally any information you could possibly want to know about an individual cow, you have access to.
Yeah, I'd say, with the digesters too, we have to separate get all the sand out before it goes into the tanks of the digester, and just seeing how that whole process and how it changes the manure and stuff there, and
there's just so much technology coming, even with like breeding and stuff on the dairy, with embryos and just different stuff that used to be wasn't even something you'd think about, but it's becoming more mainstream. So things you can do genetics wise within our herd and to advance it is stuff that's I'm looking forward to, and it seems like it's coming quick.
I think some advice you could give someone just starting up would be, just keep your chin up, work hard. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, and as long as you put the work in and do it honestly, I think it'll work out.
And I would say being willing to try new things and being able to listen to people that really have been doing it a long time.
I think for somebody starting out is smart. Start small but think big. I mean, always think big, and don't be afraid to fail. Because if you
You know, work hard and don't live in fear. And
So when I look back at when I started, I think probably my biggest downfall was I was looking at everybody else. You know, they've got this, they've got that, and I wanted to be like them rather than just be me. And so yeah, just be you, and you'll be fine.